unfortunately, moving on is not always that easy. And there are various types of breakups. Sometimes it's calmer, more mutual. Other times it's really bad, very intense, and you lose a lot of things. So there's a wide extreme of how breakups can actually happen. But at the end of the day, you cannot stay stuck in them. You've got to move on. And people want to move on and do everything they can to move on. They speak to friends, they drink themselves to you know what, and they start taking classes or read self-help literature or watch podcasts or this or that. And many times they manage to heal on their own, but oftentimes they don't. And there's a reason behind that. Let me give you an example. And we'll speak of buildings. You have an apartment or a house, let it be a house. You've got a house, you would like to bring one of the walls down, open some more space. So what happens? You call the construction team, they bring the wall down, there is a little bit of plastering, repairs, wallpapering, whatever. And what happens when you have such a process? You clean the debris, there's obviously some work involved, but it's a comparatively smooth process. But let's imagine you purchased a really nicely priced chateau in the French countryside. And you're like, great, I have this chateau and I'm going to repair it and it's going to be so good. And it's first day of your staying there. You have had a good night's sleep. You open the window, fresh air, birds chirping, and you're like, great, I'm so pumped. I'm going to take a shower and I'm going to start work. So you take a shower and then you plug your hairdryer in the socket and you're like, and then bam, you know, the electrical system of the chateau says au revoir and you're done, right? There's no electricity. Would that problem be solved with plastering? No, because sure, you know, you can bring the wallpaper down and put another one, but unless you fix the electrical system, you're going to keep having the same problem, right? So it's pretty much like that with breakups and recovery from a breakup. Sometimes it involves less work, but sometimes you need to really strip the whole building down to the basics and rebuild from there. And typically what happens is that people don't resort to therapy or coaching immediately. The pathway to healing typically, especially nowadays, as we have so many resources, free and paid ones, you start using tools that you can find online, you download lead magnets from colleagues of mine, you listen to affirmations, you meditate, you do all kinds of things. And there's nothing wrong in that per se, because every tool has its use, right? But it's a matter of the correct tool for the correct problem there is. And let me give you an example with a toothbrush, because we're speaking of buildings and cleaning debris and whatnot. Could you clean a toilet bowl with a toothbrush? Sure you can, especially if it's your ex's brush. But is that the most effective way of cleaning the toilet bowl? No, it isn't. If you use toothpaste and toothbrush, that's going to be a rather painful process. And at the end of the day, the result's not going to be as good as, you know, if you use like a proper brush and the necessary liquid that you use for cleaning toilets. So at some point, you've got to be realistic and realize that whatever you've been doing is just not working because it's not the correct tool. And this is why you're stuck.